Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. We are going to be talking about a weighty issue today. Your weight.
You're listening to the Wellness Simplified podcast. Simple wellness tips to help you improve your life without turning it upside down. With your host, award-winning fitness instructor, nutrition coach, and wellness expert, Suzi Phoebens.
Welcome back, and thanks so much for tuning in. It really means so much to me to have you back for today's episode. Before we get into the episode, this weighty episode, I wanted to share another review from iTunes, and this one is left by Shelley Jeffrey, who says, "Thank you for keeping your messages simple and real. You provide bite-sized chunks of great ideas instead of dumping the entire load on us, which can be quite overwhelming. Your messages are uplifting and leave me wanting more. Thanks for filling my weekly cup." Thank you so much, Shelley. Shelley is one of my clients in person as well and is just a sweetheart. So thank you so much for leaving that review. And if you have not left a review on iTunes yet, I would love it if you did. It only takes a couple seconds to leave a star review and a couple seconds more to leave a written review. And it really does help the podcast get seen by more eyes and then into more ears. So I really, truly appreciate it if you take the time to do that. Today's episode, as I hinted in the intro, is going to be about your weight and about my weight and about everybody's weight and the thing that you probably don't understand about your own weight. Specifically, we're talking about what it looks like to be weight stable. Most people, when they get on the scale, if the scale says that they are now heavier or lighter than they were the previous time they were on the scale, they believe that they've either lost or gained weight. Makes sense, right? If it's heavier, you've gained weight. It's lower, you've lost weight. Not necessarily. Fluctuations in your weight are completely normal and are a sign of a healthy metabolism. We actually want to see our weight go up and down throughout the week. On its own, it's a sign of a healthy metabolism. When I'm working with clients, I purposely want to see the weight changing because it tells me that your metabolism is working most efficiently and it's preventing your body from plateauing. And even if you are trying to stay weight stable, you still want to see those fluctuations because it means that your metabolism is still working for you. It means that you can be doing some of that nice recomposition, gaining muscle, maybe shedding a little bit of fat. We want to see all of those things happen. So I know it can be frustrating, but we honestly, truly want to see the scale up sometimes and down sometimes. That can still mean that your weight's stable. So some reasons that your weight could be up on a given day compared to the previous day. Well, firstly, if you are eating food before you're getting weighed, don't do that. Get weighed in the morning after you've gone to the bathroom, maybe had a glass of water, but then you get on the scale and you see where you are. You shouldn't be getting on the scale with a stomach full of food. Undigested food is obviously going to make your weight be higher. And the same can still be true if you have food in your stomach from the day before. So if you ate a lot of food later in the day, then you can still have a higher weight. And what kind of food you ate also makes a big difference. Carbohydrates, the word hydrate is right in the word. Carbs hydrate your muscle, so it's going to make your weight naturally higher after a higher carbohydrate day than it would after a low carbohydrate day. That doesn't mean you've gained weight. It just means that your muscles are hydrated. Other things, and these are probably the two biggest culprits, two of the three biggest culprits for why your weight may be up when you haven't actually gained quote unquote fat or weight. Sodium. Sodium, 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 sodium. Most people have no idea how much sodium they are putting into their systems. The ideal is around 2,000 to 2,300 milligrams for females, around 2,200 to 2,500 milligrams per day for males. But so many people are eating 3,000 to 4,000 milligrams a day and they don't realize it, especially if they're eating out at restaurants, if they're eating packaged food, if they're eating things with a lot of sauces that they're buying bottled in the store, cereal. There's so many things that have sodium in it that you do not really think about. And you could be like, oh, I don't add salt to anything. I don't add salt to anything either, but I can still easily get up over 3,000 milligrams if I'm not paying attention to what I'm eating. And that's with me still making all of our food from scratch. I mean, I use tomato sauce, but I buy the salt-free kind. We use beef broth and chicken broth, but those are both, again, salt-free. It's very, very, very easy to have a high sodium intake, and that is going to spike your weight upwards of 5, 7, 10 pounds, depending on how much it is and how susceptible your body is to sodium, it can stay elevated for up to a week. So if you had 5,000 milligrams of sodium on Tuesday, your weight could still be up on Sunday. It really, really can play with your weight. It can play with how you feel. Your joints can hurt. You can feel sluggish and just awful. The other side of that is sugar. Sugar too can really artificially inflate your weight. It is a carbohydrate that as well is going to probably spike your weight. And for me, same thing with sugar as salt. If I have a few days in a row where I'm having over 100 grams of sugar, and that's not hard if you're having a cookie and some fruit. It really isn't that hard to get up over 100. It can stay up for almost a week. So have to be really mindful of those things, those macro or micronutrients rather. Sodium and sugar really can spike things up, and it can stay up for as much as a week. If you know that you've had a lot of salt, you're going to want to really drink a lot of water, even if you already drink a lot of water, so that you can flush it out. The same with the sugar. Try to keep those lower, and you're going to see the scale come right back down. The third one that is a huge, huge culprit is lack of sleep. That's right. If you don't get enough sleep, your body is going to have inflammation and it's going to hold on to extra water, and that is going to cause your weight to be up. So if I have a night where I have a really poor night's sleep, I can almost bank on my weight being up a pound or two the next morning, and I didn't gain weight. It's just that inflammation in my body because I'm under recovered. I haven't had enough rest. So not getting enough sleep really can make a big difference. But again, you have not actually gained fat. It is just inflammation in your body. So already we've identified four different things that can cause your weight to be up without you actually having done anything terrible. Maybe you had more carbohydrates yesterday. Maybe you had a little too much salt, a little too much sugar, and not enough sleep. These are all things that can be reversed within a few days, up to a week, depending on your body. But you have not gained any fat. But you could get on the scale and see it's gone up 7 pounds and nearly lose your mind. But if you just drink some water and have a nap, it'll be going back down in a day or two. Another thing that your weight can be up, if you're a female and you are still having your monthly cycle, where you are in your monthly cycle is going to dictate your weight to a certain degree as well. My weight usually goes up around the time I ovulate. It also goes up a day or two before I start my period and stays up throughout my entire period and then goes back down. That's just something else that I need to be aware of, that if I'm ovulating, haven't slept well, had too much salt, all of those things, my weight can be way up, but it's artificially so. I didn't actually gain any weight. Another thing that can cause your weight to be up is the type of workout you did the day before. So if you did anything that was really stressful on your body, maybe ran 15 kilometers, maybe did a serious strength training regime and your muscles are sore and are repairing, inflammation again, weight is going to be up. It'll go back down, but it could be up temporarily. And the last thing, and this falls in with the sleep, is stress levels in general. Cortisol, having increased cortisol levels causes water retention, can mask fat loss. So when you're doing that, it's going to make you look like you've gained weight. Even just doing extra hard intensity cardio can do that. Walking really, especially if you're trying to lose fat, is one of the greatest things because it does not stress the body. It increases total calorie burn. You're not going to have that inflammation from going for a 1 hour walk the same as you would from a heavy strength training routine. And that's not to say that you shouldn't strength train. Obviously you should. So especially if you are brand new, trying to lose weight, haven't been working out, exercising regularly, just go for a walk. Walking is the best thing you can do because it's not going to super stress your body. So those are all things that can cause you to look like you've gained weight when you really have not at all. Let's go through those again really quickly if I can get them off the top of my head. Food that is in your stomach, undigested, if you've eaten a lot of carbohydrates the day before, sodium, sugar, if you didn't get enough sleep, if you're having high stress levels, if you have some muscle soreness, or if you worked out really hard the previous day, these things can all make it look like you have gained weight when you have not. In fact, I have had a number of times when people have come to me and said, oh my goodness, I got weighed this morning and I'm up 3 pounds and I don't even know what to do. And I'll say, so what did you have to eat yesterday? And the answer often is, well, this happened twice within a week. The first time the person had takeout pizza. The second time the person had ham the day before. Both are known to be high in sodium. I said, drink some water, get weighed again in a couple days. It's probably going to be fine. And it was. So those are all reasons why your weight can be up. Same thing can happen if your weight is down. It doesn't necessarily mean that your weight is actually down. If you are dehydrated, your weight can be lowered. If you had low carbohydrates, lesser carbs than you normally have in the run of a day, that can make your weight look lower, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are lighter. So if you had one day where you ate a lot of carbohydrates and your weight was up 3 pounds from where it was before, so then you hardly ate any carbohydrates for the next 3 days, and then the next time you got on you were down 6 pounds, you probably didn't actually lose any weight at all. You're still weight stable. It's just that you were playing around with your carbs. Yeah. You probably didn't lose any weight. So what is the point of all this? The point is you can't just look at one data point and make a decision as to whether you've gained or lost weight. You have to look at an average over the run of a week. So a lot of apps nowadays, including the Fitbit app, if you log your weight, it will then start to show you your weekly average. And that is where you can find the trends as to whether your weight is going up gradually or if it's going down gradually or if it is staying the same. If it is staying the same and you want to be weight stable, perfection. If it is going up on average week to week, over a month, over 2 months, over 3 months, then you're probably going to want to make some changes to your diet unless your goal is to gain weight. And some people, they do need to gain weight, so that is what they would want to do. And if you're looking to lose weight, you want to look at that weekly average and see it going down over time. But one single data point, getting weighed once a week, is kind of hard to really gauge how well you're doing. And while I don't recommend that everybody gets weighed every single day, if you can detach your attachment to that number, getting weighed daily so that you can get a nice average week to week to see what is really happening with your weight can be very beneficial. But if that is something that's going to send you into a tailspin, definitely don't get into doing that. Instead, you can weigh yourself once a week, but try to do it under the same circumstances each week. So if you know every Friday night you go out and you have some drinks, oh, that's another one. Alcohol can really throw your weight off for a week. If you know you're going to have drinks on Friday night and you're going to have nachos or whatever, don't get weighed Saturday morning because your weight's always going to be up. Instead, just try to recreate the same settings week to week. I usually get weighed most mornings. I don't get weighed every single morning because I'm just lazy, but probably 3-4 times a week I will get on the scale so that I can keep an eye on the average. If you want to get weighed once a week, just make sure that it really is under those same circumstances or as much so as possible so that you're comparing apples to apples instead of pomegranates to cantaloupes. You want to have as close to the same information happening each time, because what good is it if you one week get weighed the day after you ate an entire pizza and ran a half marathon, and then the next week you get weighed the day after you had the flu all the day before and didn't eat or move at all. Those weights are going to be vastly different, and neither one of them is going to be overly accurate. But what I really want you to take away from this is that one single solitary data point is not going to tell you if you have gained or lost weight. And even if you are staying weight stable, because of all those things that can alter your weight, switching between 2 to 4 pounds, like looking like you've lost 2 pounds or gained 4 pounds, that whole range is still considered weight stable. So you can have a range of almost 6 pounds where you can be up or down and still be weight stable. So say your weight is 150, one day you get weighed and it's 153, a few days later you're 148, maybe then 151, 49, 52. You're still weight stable. Your weight is just doing what it does. That is what it does. Does not mean that you keep gaining and losing and gaining and losing. It is just your body doing what it does. It is your metabolism doing its job. It is your body taking care of whatever you have fed it the day before or whatever activities you have put it through or have not put it through the day before. It is all normal. Do not think just because you get on the scale one day and your weight is up a pound or two or down a pound or two that you have necessarily gained or lost weight. So now that I have debunked probably what most people think is gospel when it comes to getting on the scale, I would love to hear what you think. If this was something new to you, if this is something you've never ever heard before, or if this is old hat and you already knew that your body fluctuated and that you can expect a range of about 4, 5, 6 pounds and still be considered weight stable. Or have you even heard the word weight stable before, unless it came out of my mouth? I would love to hear all about that. So you can hop over to my Facebook page at facebook.com/confessions of a fitness instructor, or find me on Instagram, or or Twitter at Suzi Confesses, Suzi Confesses, or use the hashtag Wellness Simplified Podcast to get in on the conversation and let me know what you thought about this episode. If you're still looking for more information on nutrition and all that, you can go to wellnesssimplifiedpodcast.com and click on today's episode, which I believe is episode number 9. You will be able to click on a link. It will take you to a blog post. It will give you more information and links that you can read through and contact me if you have any other questions. Oh yes, and of course, we have to thank our executive producer. She's working on her own here today. It is Miss Rose Tyler, the gray kitty cat, who turned 3 last weekend. Her and Claire both turned 3. But Claire must be off on vacation today because it's only Rose with me here in the recording studio, aka the basement. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you next week.